would you say your dream is?
My dream is to walk in a museum one day and just see one of my paintings hanging on the wall. I lost my studio recently, man, in a fire in Santa Monica. You can Google me, Drew Hill Celebrity.
Life for Richard Hutchins hasn't been easy. Originally from Atlanta, Georgia, he grew up in Techwood Homes, one of the first federal public housing projects in the United States, before moving to Los Angeles. In LA, he eventually found an art studio where he could act on a passion for painting he'd had since the age of 6. But he struggled there too, later landing in a Los Angeles country jail. While in prison, Hutchins spent his days painting portraits on envelopes, experimenting with what was available to him: toothpaste, Kool-Aid, and the colored dye coating of Skittles and M&Ms, and using a paintbrush made from his plucked beard hairs. By the time he was released, Hutchins had lost his studio to a fire and he became homeless. He walked the streets and lived on beaches before ending up in homeless shelters on Skid Row. Hutchins had been living on Skid Row for 6 years when, this past Easter Sunday, he encountered Charlie "Rocket" Jabali, former manager, at a grocery store in Los Angeles. Since then, Charlie and his company, The Dream Machine, have helped transform Hutchins' life. When they asked him what his dream was, Hutchins replied, "My dream is to walk into a museum one day and see one of my paintings hanging on the wall." After an initial conversation, Charlie took him to an art store and purchased $2,000 worth of supplies to get him painting again. Then, Charlie and his team created a website for Hutchins to sell his work, including the 250 envelopes he had painted while in jail. For hours after the website went live, Charlie and his team had sold $50,000 worth of art.
We just hit $51,120!
Charlie later organized an exhibition for Hutchins at the Sofitel Los Angeles Hotel in Beverly Hills, where hundreds of people showed up. Hutchins sold even more paintings that night, including one that went for $23,000. To date, Hutchins has made more than $200,000 from art sales, with notable buyers including Oprah Winfrey, 2 Chainz, Steve Harvey, and Will Smith. Charlie started the Dream Machine to help others realize their wildest ambitions. "This is what I feel is the new age of philanthropy," he told CNN. Now that Hutchins is off the streets, he plans to help Dream Machine with its mission wherever he can. But, he said, his destiny now is to go back to Skid Row. Hutchins plans on paying his good fortune forward. "I'm just not sitting around spending money. I am trying to make things happen," Hutchins said. The night after his Sofitel exhibition, Hutchins went to Skid Row and gave all the money in his pockets to people living on the streets. He said, in the future, he hopes to launch a fundraiser for breast cancer research in honor of his late mother, and to start a foundation in her name that will help clean up Skid Row and put kids through school. "The money that we have raised and continue to raise, I am going to use to at least try to make the world a little bit better place to live in, especially on Skid Row." Richard is moving into his new place and hopes to be Charlie's neighbor one day. Charlie certainly hopes so. He tells me Richard cooks a good breakfast. Charlie has a story to share of his own. He began his career by managing rapper 2 Chainz, but was diagnosed with a brain tumor. He decided to pursue his dream of becoming an athlete. He adds, "All my dreams had come true, so I decided to go and make everyone else's dreams come true." Charlie wants to be part of a generation that changes the world. Now, Richard believes his mission is to help others. "I need to carry the torch, so much needs to be done, and I'm going to use my art to do it," he said. Richard wants to create real change for the homeless of Los Angeles. He's been trying to get the attention of the White House and is currently in talks with financial advisors with the aim to create the Jess Hutchins Foundation, which he is naming after his mother.